Well, for more on that, I'm joined by Eric Mandel. He's the founder and director of the Middle East Political Information Network. Thank you very much for joining us. So what do you read into Biden's comments? Do you think he will still go to Saudi Arabia?
I do. He speaks very often as a moderate, but he has really led much more and legislated much more as a progressive, and that's where he's pulled here. I mean, what we're dealing with from an American point of view is shared interests, not shared values. But we also have to acknowledge the fact that the Saudis have come a long way. There's been a total about-face. My friend, Ambassador Aaron David Miller, said that Biden was going to be the Saudis' worst nightmare. And then recently, Secretary of State Blinken said that they are now a critical partner for the Abraham Accords. So this is, and most people think at a superficial level, this is about easing gas prices. They're Saudis are the second largest oil producer, and then the unofficial head of OPEC. But the truth is, from an American point of view, this is a self-inflicted wound. The president, and based upon the progressive climate change constituency, has really impeded American oil and gas production. If the president just said tomorrow that he was going to take a pause, probably international oil and gas prices would go down 30% if he opened up some pipelines and made investors and leases feel that they were going to get their money back. But just this week, I just was in Congress. The sweetener for the Saudis is there's something called it's a legislation called the Defend Act, which is going to incorporate Israel, the Gulf states, Egypt, Jordan, in a mutual defense pact, anti-missile pact against Iran. And also the Saudis' number one ally in the region, the UAE, they basically have been given an American guarantee, or in the process of that, especially regarding the attacks from the Houthis that hit Abu Dhabi, and that the Americans didn't really respond or show support for the UAE for over 22 days. And regarding the original part about the progressives giving the president a hard time, there's a large hypocrisy here, because people like Adam Schiff, who's the largest cheerleader for this in Congress, they are also cheerleaders for hundreds of billions of dollars going to Iran, the world's leading state sponsor of terror.
Right. Sorry, we are running out of time. But the kind of conventional wisdom was that Joe Biden would want a deal sewn up between Saudi Arabia, Israel, and Egypt regarding the islands in the Straits of Tiran. It would be very difficult, wouldn't it, for him now to go back on that before his trip?
Yeah, I agree with you, Laura. I believe that that deal, which transfers two vital islands in the Straits of Tiran, I think that may be a fait accompli, and that is the first step in maybe getting the Saudis to get one step closer to joining the Abraham Accords. I've spoken with the Saudi embassy. They're hesitant to this point. They still feel the pressure of the Palestinian issue, but this is the direction things need to go, especially with Iran looking like, for its interests, it is choosing not to rejoin the JCPOA, because economically they're doing much better than people thought, because the president is not enforcing sanctions. China's purchases of Iranian oil are almost the same as pre-pandemic levels.
Eric Mandel, we'll have to leave it there, but thank you very much indeed.
My pleasure.